does the fitness test still exist? Because I keep seeing so many big fat officers that just look obese. Sorry for my language. These are questions that we've been asked. These not me saying these things. These are questions we're being asked. So that's straight to you, is that then? Because let's be honest, you've got a six-pack.
It's not there now, but...
Fucking, you just showed Josh your photo. You look amazing. And then Josh didn't even say that. He does. I'm going to put that photo up just so people can see it. Right, go on.
Well, it does exist, but it probably doesn't exist in the fashion that it should exist. And I think, look, the bleep test is one of the things that I think creates a lot of anxiety for a lot of people. And there'll be a lot of people out there saying, yeah, but it's 3.7 now.
Is it 3.7 now?
Yeah, which for some forces it is.
Fucking hell.
And I'll agree, yeah, that's not fit for purpose. You know, that is very low and we should be able to achieve it. However, the bleep test is not just a physical test for a lot of people. It's actually a mental test. Yeah. Because they stand on a line in front of everybody and they have to run from beep to beep to beep. And it creates massive anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's not the fact that people can't achieve the level, it's the fact they build themselves up to a point that they emotionally get too het up in the situation. I know people that have been marathon runners and they struggle and they worry about a 5.4 or a 6.3 on a bleep test. Well, they're fitter than me and they know they are, but because of the way the test is, it becomes a problem. In my opinion, what the test should be is more job related.
Yeah.
There are other forces out there that in other countries, Australia, for example, we've had several people go through the Australia process and it's much more job related, pushing, pulling, jumping. When you run after somebody, the one thing you definitely don't do is you don't run to beeps and you don't progressively get quicker and quicker and quicker because you die. We need to have something that is there that kind of highlights the challenges of the job and is relatable. And I think what you'd do is you'd be able to get police officers in a better position to perform at the best.
It's like when I joined 2001, I don't know what yours was, I think it was 8.7 or 9.2 you had to get on running machine. It's what the ACT team have to do now.
Yeah.
You had to do as many press-ups as you could do in 60 seconds, but it had to be over 30. As many sit-ups, it had to be over 30. So that's quick. You had to do a grip test, fat test, so they had to do your BMI. You had to do a standing jump lunge and a few other stuff as well. And it was hard. I mean, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't too challenging. I mean, I had to start doing press-ups a couple of months before and start building that up with stamina-wise. But I thought the running test was, the beep test in theory was the hardest part. But we had a lad called John, I can't remember his last name, but John were a marathon and he could just run all day. But even he said he found it hard because it's just, again, it's just that
it's the turns.
Yeah, it's running to the beeps.
Yeah.
And we know it's traffic and people laugh at us, but we probably don't run more than 50 metres from his car.
Yeah.
The reason being is the cars, the office, it's the thing we use, and if we haven't got the car, we can't pursue the vehicle. So normally his oppo gets out and runs, and we'll do a backup, and then we'll go get the car and go around and do what we need to do. So again, when I was younger, my foot chases were fine, and I could run after someone probably about a mile and a half with all my tack vest on and stuff like that. But if I hadn't caught him after that, we're giving up it as a bad job. It was one of these like, it's a file on legs then. I don't mean to sound funny, how far do you go?
Yeah.
But my last fitness test I did when it was 4 point something. And I had a little bit of anxiety about it, but it wasn't anxiety about doing a fitness test. It was just anxiety about, I just didn't fucking want to be there.
Yeah.
It was just pointless and shit, being honest. But then when you did it, there were people just dropping out. And they were like, what are you doing? And it was just, it wasn't more than a fast walk.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And I don't know what the police have got it in, or got it in their heads why they need to be like this. But so Josh used to do some martial arts. I used to do jiu-jitsu years ago and some kung fu and this sort of thing. They don't teach any ground fighting.
No.
And chances are, first thing within 8 seconds, fight's going to be over, or you're going to be led to the ground.
Yeah.
They don't do any combat training, any back-to-back. One of the best things I used to do was back-to-back training. So basically, you'd sit back-to-back with someone, they'd say, go, you turn around, you couldn't get off your knees. And you had to try and pin the person to the floor. That's some of the best things you could do when you're doing normal clothes. You don't do them in gis or anything like that. and then your claws, you're surprised how many times your claws are used against you, if that makes sense. And then we're wearing tack vests, we're wearing where everyone can just grab hold of stuff and this sort of thing. And you know how hard it is to manoeuvre when you're on the floor in your stab vest and trying to bend over and stuff. It should all be done fully kitted up, not in shorts and a vest in a gym. They don't do any boxing training. I remember when we started out, there were weeks and weeks and weeks of empty hand skills, riot training, fitness training, and all this lot. And I think the year that I left, I think it was half a day. I remember doing a week on baton alone.
Yeah.
About different baton techniques, bitten strikes, and it will be or you can now class as advanced baton users. And to me, that was you're lazy and don't want to teach us out.
Well, now it's a 2-day course for across the country, and that some forces might not be yet, but it will be, whereby it's scenario based.
Right.
So you basically go into a situation, and there'll be a scenario that you'll have to deal with, and it's basically to try and make it more realistic. But at the start, you'll obviously do your bleep test. And for some forces, it's 3.7.
Fucking hell.
And we've got to ask ourselves the question, is that really suitable for a role? And there'll be people out there that might turn around and go, well, I'm not in an operational role, but the problem is you could be.
Yeah, and you need to be ready for that. Yeah.
And for me, we should be doing it in a way that is relatable to what the role is. You do jump over fences. You do have to, potentially get hands on at times, and to just judge somebody based on a shuttle run, which you never do in policing ever, is absolutely bonkers in my opinion.
Yeah.
And there'll be people out there that say, well, everybody should be able to do 5.4. Everyone should be able to do 3.7. In an ideal world, yes. But the way the police do it is in this environment that is not realistic at all.
Yeah.
I know that some forces do it where you can do it by yourself and with help. And again, people might turn around and say, well, they shouldn't need it. But at the end of the day, it's not a fact of needing it. It's the fact that some people, it's not a physical test for them. It's a genuine fear. And I think it stems from school.
Yeah.
When some people are doing the bleep test at school and panicking.
Yeah.
And now we've got it as a test for policing. And how can that possibly, in modern day policing, be a test?
Well, I've got no idea. So, other day I met up with a lad called Andy Yield, ex-West Yorkshire officer. He now does private security. He does breakaway training, self-defence training, women's self-defence, this sort of thing. He's just come back from LA doing training with LAPD. And I think it's Hoist Gracie who teaches, so they've done like master classes with LAPD. This is everyone in LAPD, muscular, big, strong. It's like there's not one person that looks like thin, weak. Yeah. It's just they're all bobbies and they're all going out on uniform patrol, but they're all trained in ground fighting, grappling, submission techniques, and they're trained directly with Gracie family, who formulated a lot of the jiu-jitsu formulas that people on MMA work from now. And we just literally, the last one I watched, I just thought it was really funny. They were showing women how to punch, but the people that were, I'm not being like derogatory, but that one woman was punching, she was holding her thumb, and it didn't stop her from holding the thumb. And then it says, if it gets too bad, run. And I'm like, you're teaching these people to not throw a punch properly, and you're teaching these people then to run. And then you're going to get in a conflict situation. This person's probably never had a fight or punched in the face, expecting that what they're taught with a baton strike is going to work. And that's when you see these public order videos going around of someone in a fight, and you've got one person whacking someone on the legs just saying, get back. And it's been ineffective. Yeah. And these people need to be taken straight down to the floor, being controlled by their head or the chest, being submitted to the floor, and then being handcuffed.
What do you think that having BJJ in every police force right across the country is the right way to go?
I personally think, I've said this for years, do you know when you have training days, I think what you should do, your shifts should be, in theory, 7-5, but they should cross it over so you actually finish at 4 and you do an hour fitness. Yeah. Down in the works gym, you do an hour fitness and an hour training. And one day you might do fitness, one day you do ground fighting. One day you do, and this could be taught by ex-instructors, people who've taught in past, people who've got history in past, like one lad we know, Danny Mitchell and things like that, who's a top fighter. They could be coming in, but you also need to be taught by bobbies who have got the experience, because I spent years, and I mean years, in a dojo, absolutely years, and not hardly one thing I've ever been taught works on the street. The things I taught or do on the street have worked out of history of them working.
Yeah. Revert to type, don't you?
Yeah. So you might think, right, I'll do this, and you think that doesn't work, and you try and do an armbar, that doesn't work. You try and do a lead grab, that doesn't work. But then you do one thing, and you think, oh, that were a piece of piss. So you need officers that have got the skill, who've been in fight after fight after fight, and say, if all else fails, this, and this, and then do it. And then when you have a training day, you have a full-on session. You invite people, or you go to seminars, or you get people in, you do a proper seminar at West Yorkshire headquarters with so-and-so, and you learn, because half of your job, and it is, being in uniform, is being hands-on, and the amount of fights, the amount of rolling around on the floor you do, the amount of being kicked in the face, the amount of personal perception, personal awareness, that people just don't have aware.
The huge problem with that will be, though, that some forces don't have gyms in all stations, which I think is absolutely bonkers. How can you expect officers to look after themselves? And there were people going, well, that's your personal responsibility.
No, it's not.
But that is probably standard right across the majority of places and businesses, whereby they will supply a place for people to get fit, and one for your physical health, but also for your mental health as well. Yeah. We used to have canteens and bars.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just out to that. So,
no, we had canteens and bars.
Yeah. But now I'd argue that it's the other way.
Yeah.
What we should be having is gyms and things like that can also help. And it should be a non-negotiable. It should be every police station has access to a well-equipped gym that officers can go and have time to do. I mean, it's bizarre that some places that, well, if you're on firearms, you can go and
you have gym time.
Yeah, and that is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why? Because we all know that to get out of a car as a firearms bobby, you have to have authority. Yeah. So then they're not going to be in positions whereby they're going to be rolling around with people, but other departments are going to be response officers, are going to be rolling around with people every single day.
Yep.
And they haven't got access to, well, some places haven't got access to it. And you're right, it should be built in. It should be part of your day, whereby you've got, look, if you choose not to do it and you decide that, it's not for me, and then you let yourself go and you're not capable of doing the job, then, well, that's on you. Yeah. Because the job of trying to do everything they possibly can. And that should also lead to nutritional advice and support and guidance in relation to that, because you can't have one without the other. Yeah. And we should be providing better support for officers, and it's not there.
So back to what you were saying then. So in my gym, there's a thing called Clean Eats, and it's a kitchen that's downstairs. It's a little restaurant, and you go in and you can have whatever. It's all measured out. It comes with protein. It does X, Y, and Z. So in the morning, you can go get porridge. It's got some protein in. It's got seeds on top, a little bit, but it's all measured in weight categories. Same with tea. You can get chicken breast, broccoli, and so on. So you could open the canteens back, and rather than on a night time when you're on late, and you go out and get a massive doner kebab and pizza, because this is what bobbies do, and come over with Chinese and eat loads of shit, you could be literally coming in, and if I were paying £3.50, £4 and getting a doner kebab and chicken chips, or I could go get a grilled chicken breast, broccoli and whatever, and it meant I was getting what I needed to do, even though you're eating at wrong times, I'd gladly pay for that.
Well, the other way to get around that, because the argument will be, well, we haven't got money for X, Y, and Z, so we can't afford to bring back canteens because they'll have to be staffed, etc. But you can actually buy vending machines that produce these meals. You could do that, and that'd be very, very cost effective right across the country. I actually did a story on this and did a poll, and 93% of people said that would be something they'd be interested in.
How many times have you eat, and you know it yourself, spaghetti hoops? How many times, because this is one of the things you're famous for, but how many times is it easy to do some pot noodles? Yeah. How many times is it easy to go buy a prepared packaged sandwich from shops? Yeah. How many times? And it's just, and you might go, yeah, with meal prepping, but you get home from work, you've been working 12 hours, 13 hours on that day, you get home, you've got your kids, you've got martial arts, you've got swimming, you've got to do it. Then when you get back from that, you've got to iron the uniforms, do this, do that. Then you get your shower yourself, and by the time you sit down, it's 8:30. Well, I haven't got time to meal prep. We'll do it at weekend. Well, I don't, because I work weekends. I don't have the same hours. I do 6 days on, 4 days off. I spent first day in bed because I've just worked 2 nights. I get up, And it's not what people think it is. It's just not easy to do that structure thing. But if someone can put that structure in for you, I'd have paid for it.
Yeah. I think the big thing is that at the minute, the well-being and the welfare isn't where it needs to be. We're not supporting officers well enough in relation to the training, the initial looking after the fitness. The bleep test isn't where it needs to be, and isn't what it should be. But then we're also not really supporting the officers very well at all in relation to the food. At the end of the day, whatever you put in is what you're going to get out.
Yeah, exactly.
And I find it absolutely bonkers. You've done advanced courses, I've done advanced courses. Every time that you're on your advanced course, what do? You go to a cafeteria every day. And then what we're saying to people is go and drive at 120 miles an hour. I'm going to fuel our bodies ridiculously wrong here. Why are we doing that?
That's why we always feel sleepy after. Yeah,
it's absolutely, it's bonkers. And for me, that's exactly the same when you're on a 12-hour shift. Because there's nothing in the stations anymore. A lot of the cooking facilities probably aren't up to scratch, and if they are, they've been there for years. How can that possibly be right? We should have, and the canteens are probably never going to come back, and I get that. But what we can do is we can put things in place, such as vending machines that give you some high protein meals that's going to keep you feeling full, and it's going to help you probably with whatever journey you're on as well. If you're on a fat loss journey, if you feel full, you're probably not going to go for the sugary snacks and for the takeaways, which is going to benefit everybody and benefit you. Really simple, cost-effective way to help officers stay on track.
Last but not least in this, I can't remember where it was, but I've lectured at a load of police forces around the UK, and there's some forces I've been into where they've got a big new police station and they've got incoming companies, and they'll hire a space out to like Starbucks. So you come in, you can have there's a small little canteen. It's probably 4 foot by 4 foot, but it's a counter and it's a Starbucks. And then there's a cafetiere, there's whatever. And then next to it, they had not a Londis, but they had it's like a little shop, and they hire the shop out. So you can tell me you can't tell me you can't get an external source to come and 5 days a week from 9 till 5 stack healthy living food for people, and they'll buy it. If I could go in a police station now, if I were working with them, and I went in and I said, you can have grilled chicken, chips, broccoli and some sweet potato mash, whatever it is, and it's £4.20, or you can go have a pizza, I'd be all over chicken. Yeah. But this is what I mean. But what they don't do is they don't think about it as a business. They literally let the bobbies get to a certain effort, and then this goes back to the first question: is the police fit for purpose?
And it's not.
It's not, is it? It's not.
Well, with what we've just spoke about, it's definitely not.
Yeah.
We're setting people up to fail.
Yeah.
And sadly, there are people that are sinking, and it's not down to anything other than just poor management.
Well, let's see if these videos make a difference. So, see you next time for some more videos.